Hello, everyone, and welcome to Speak Up Sis Talk Show right here on the Speak Up Sis bookshelf. This is the place where authors, especially Christian authors, have an opportunity to share their stories through their written work in order to inspire you to open up your mouth and share yours. I'm your host, Angel Charmaine. And y'all already know I got an amazing guest with me here tonight, a beautiful 13-year-old princess and her father. I didn't say frog, I said father. Yes, I did. So we've got a beautiful 13-year-old author who's going to join us in just a second to talk to us about what in the world led her to write a book in the 7th grade. All right. So you all know what it is. Come on in. I am expecting that you all show her a lot of love. I will be manning the comments. If you have comments, if you have questions for her or her father, then please feel free to put them in the comments. This is an interactive conversation, and we love to hear what it is that you have to say. So I'm going to go ahead and bring them on up. Hello, how are you doing this evening?
Good evening. We're doing wonderful. How about yourself?
I'm doing well.
Hi, I'm
Thanks for
doing
asking.
well.
You're doing well as well. So that's what's up. We've got Haelee Moone as well as, is it Dedrick? Am I saying that right?
Depends on who you ask.
Is
You
it
ask
Dedrick
me,
or Dedrick?
if you ask me, it's Dedrick. If you ask my mom, it's Dedrick. It's a whole story about that. I'll tell you about it later.
Well, of course, then it's Dedrick then, because if your
No,
mama
it's
says
Dedrick.
Dedrick, it's Dedrick. So welcome, Dedrick and Haelee to Speak Up Sis Talk Show. I appreciate you for coming on and sharing your stories as well as your book with our community on this platform. So before we really jump into the conversation tonight, I'm going to let Dad introduce himself first because I really want to spend a lot of time talking to Haelee tonight. So we're going to let Dad get his talking in early. How about that? Dad, tell the people a little bit about who you are.
Honestly, I always tell everyone I'm a nobody. Haelee is actually the star of the show. But in essence, for me, went to school for engineering. I'm a electrical and systems engineer. I work in government contracts and things of that nature. That's during the 9 to 5. But after hours, I'm like Haelee, we wear some of the same hats. Both of us are published authors. Both of us are YouTubers, we're bloggers and vloggers. And we own a small business called the Rules of a Big Boss LLC. She's the CEO of the company. I'm the COO. And she works for me. I'm sorry, I said it backwards. I actually work for her. And were it not for her, I wouldn't be who and what I am today. She started everything off with respect to this author journey. She wrote the book, the Rules of a Big Boss, Book of Self-Love first. And then after she wrote that, 6 months later, she and I co-authored the Unexpected Journey, Fire and Gold, which is a deeper dive into the Rules of a Big Boss, a book of self-love. I'll be quiet and I'll turn it over to her.
Hold on. What? Excuse me. I can't hear y'all. Haelee?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. There you are. So your dad has told us a little bit about himself, and he's told us that you are the little big boss of the family. So why don't you share a little bit about yourself with us?
I am 13 years old, as you have mentioned. I am in the 7th grade. I am a straight A student. I am in 2 advanced classes at my middle school. As obviously, I'm an author. That's pretty obvious. I'm also a small business owner and, as my dad said, the CEO of my company, The Rules of a Big Boss LLC. And yeah.
Okay, so let me just say this, Haelee. Did you just call yourself CEO? Is that what you just did?
Yes, I did.
And I saw the hair flip with that too. Like, yes.
Wait, wait, wait. I actually did one. Are you serious? Like I literally did one.
You did, honey. Yes, you did. You
Oh,
did. You said yes. Okay.
I
I'm
didn't know I
here
did
for it.
that.
I am here
It
for
must be a immediate reaction, I guess.
it's listen, and we don't even have to apologize for it because you're 13 years old, you've written a book, you are running a company alongside your father at 13 years old. I mean, I think that deserves a hair flip. So I'm good with it. So we've got Ashana Mollett in the building. She says hello. And she also says, yes, congratulations to you. So everyone, we've got just a little bit of a delay with Haelee. So y'all are going to have to just rock with us tonight. I'm going to take my time so that I can hear her and give her time to respond and all that good stuff. So Haelee, let's go ahead and jump into this because you and I had an opportunity to have a conversation prior to this. And so I've heard a little bit about why you decided to write a book. So tell the people listening what prompted you to write this book and tell everybody what the name of the book is.
So my book's name is The Rules of a Big Boss, a book of self-love. This is what it looks like. And what drove me to write this book was my fourth grade teacher. I think that, yeah, my fourth grade teacher. So, just a little bit of background on it. So, my class was awful. Like, we barely got anything done. Everybody was always acting up. People were always arguing. I'm not going to say I was one of the good kids because I definitely wasn't. I was always the one who was always getting in trouble and always in the office. So, but that's a long story of why. But um, so I was always one of the students to get in trouble. And of course, she would sit us down and she would have these long talks with us. Like when I say it would last like maybe 45 minutes. So we would miss the entire class pretty much. And I would just be like, okay, because we were happy because we got to miss work because she would sit there and talk with us. So one of the things that she had mentioned was her daughter's friend. So her daughter's friend at the time was maybe 8 years old and we were 9 and 10, I believe. But all I remember is that she was like a year or two older than us. And she had told us that she had written a book and traveled the world and things like that, doing book signings and traveled locally. And she was pretty much like a local celebrity. She was on TV and everything. So I was just like, here I am acting up in class. And here this like 8 to 9 year old girl is just traveling and writing a book. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm jealous now. So now I want to write a book. So I just didn't know what exactly to write about until sixth grade.
Okay, so you do realize, Haelee, that you're talking about 8, 9, and 10-year-olds. I work with 30, 40, and 50-year-olds who haven't gotten to that point where they're like, hey, I can write a book. So when I tell you, when I first saw you, I saw your book, I read about your story, I was in awe at someone at your age thinking the way you do. Even sitting here having this conversation with you, it's hard to believe that you're 13 years old because you have such a maturity in your voice. But I kind of understand where some of that came from. So let's talk to the people about the subject matter of the book. So that's where you got this idea that, I should write a book. I can write a book. But the subject matter came from another place, right? So talk to everybody about what got you to this place where you felt like you needed to write about self-love.
Hey, Angel, before she answers that question, let me say something. and it goes right into the point that you made about 30 and 40-year-olds or whatever. I have long been planning writing a book or writing a couple of books. And I started writing in the manuscripts or whatever, but I never finished the manuscripts. One of them was a comedy book, another one was my autobiography, but I never really got past, say in chapter 6 or whatever. And I would always find myself unmotivated, and I would stop. Well, I finally decided to finish one, and the one that I decided to finish was the one involving Haelee. And I never would have started that book, nor would I have finished it were it not for her. So
Mm-hmm.
to your point, here she was when she actually wrote the rules of Big Ball. She was actually 12.
Mm-hmm.
And, it was when she was 13 when we sat down, because her birthday was in October. We started writing the second book in November. But it was her bravery in speaking out and about the things that she's getting ready to share. And, just her being transparent and sharing, her story, her testimonies, and her strength, which finally made me say, okay, you know what? I need to push past my hurt, and I need to push past my pain so
Mm-hmm.
that I can finish telling the story and complete this chapter of, her and our journey. Okay, I'm gonna be quiet now. Turn it back over.
Got you. All right, Haelee. So tell us what prompted the topic of self-love.
So ever since I was maybe, I'd say 7 years old, all the way up until 12. So when I was 7 years old, I was bullied by this girl who was 6 years old. I'm not going to go into like too many details about that, but the bullying was so severe that I started to feel really insecure and I was really suicidal. And that caused me to like build up a wall of like defensiveness. And then as I started to get older, it wasn't bullying per se, but I did get made fun of a lot. So for having a big forehead, people make fun of me for that. For having a big nose, people make fun of me for that. Um, for having big thighs, people make fun of me for that. Same with my lips. So they would find literally anything to make fun of. And that made me feel really insecure because I was like, hey, well, maybe the reason why I'm not as popular as my best friend is because I have this. Maybe they're right. So I took everything they said to heart and I started to make correlations to things that had literally nothing to do with it whatsoever. So I was like, maybe my luck is so bad because I look like this. Maybe it's because I acted this way. So let me do this. Let me do that. Let me do this. Let me do that. So,
Okay, so I'm
and
gonna
this
slow
happened.
you down for a second. And we do this in the Speak Up Sis space because I think what you're saying needs to resonate because there aren't children watching you. There are adults watching you. Okay. And I believe what you have to say, they need to hear and understand. You said that at 6 and 7 years old, you were dealing with bullying from a 6-year-old and you're a 7. Now, as a 43-year-old woman, that's hard for me to, I'm like 6 and 7-year-olds bullying, but I think it's really important for adults to understand that this stuff happens to 6 and 7 years. You're talking about what? First and second grade?
Yes.
Yes. So when you say bullying, you're talking about the teasing and talking about your features and things of that nature, or no, there's a different type of bullying. So explain that to us, Haelee.
So it was like, okay, so it was sexual assault, attempted murder, 2 accounts. Um, and there was name calling though, like spreading sexual rumors that like you would never expect to even come out of a 6-year-old's mouth. And like peer pressure, like you should act up in class and get sent to the office. You should get yourself suspended, things like that. So like as far as sexual assault goes, like she had touched me inappropriately, not like in the area, but
Right.
like the rear end area. She had
Mm-hmm.
tried for like the genital area, but I didn't let her. I had stopped her, and that's why she started to bully me. She would spread the rumors that I was doing inappropriate things with older guys that were like maybe in the fifth grade. Like some of the guy friends that I had that were older than me, like she would spread rumors about us, and she would like, and then everybody would pretty much believe it except for the people that knew me. So the people that knew me, they were like, no way, she's like this, she's like that, she would never do something like that, and why would she? And but a lot of other people would like look at me disgusting, and she would try to get me to act a certain way in class because she wanted to seem like the good one, and certain things like that. And like she had apologized this one day, and I was like, oh, okay. So she had said, here, give me a hug. And I was like, okay, hugs. And then she had squeezed me too hard to the point where I couldn't breathe. And I was like turning a bluish purple color. And the older kids that were around, they had to pull her off of me. That was the first time she had tried to kill me. Then the second time I was at the pool, and this was my friends, my mom, and I don't remember if my dad was there. I think he was, but I think he was talking to my mom or my grandma. So main story is I was in the pool with my friends, and she had came. I don't know if she just came because we were there or if it was just a coincidence, but she was there and she had tried to drown me. She knew I could swim. And while I was like playing around with my friends and not paying her any mind, she had gouged my head and she had pushed me under the water. And I couldn't fight her off because I was underwater and I was more focused on breathing rather than I was like trying to like get from under the water. I was just flapping around like a fish. So once again, my friends had to help me and pull her off and get me out of the water. So the older girl, she had grabbed my arm and then she was like shielding me so that she wouldn't try anything again. And once I got out of my pool, I had told my mom about the situation. And it goes deeper, but like, that's a lot.
That's a whole lot. And I think what I really want people to get, which to me makes the book that much more powerful, is how young you were. I'm still trying to wrap that around my head. When we think sexual assault or sexual abuse or any type of thing, we're typically thinking an adult and a child, not two children. And who is this? How you doing, Sherelle? Welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight. She says there were terrible things going on in that girl's house. And I think it's important for people to understand that there are children who are seeing things, experiencing things that are connecting to other children.
Yes. And Angel, I'm glad you said that. You hit the nail right on the head with where I was going to go with that. To your point, I said something has to be going on in that child's house
Right.
for her to be this young, doing things like this.
Mm-hmm.
And so I called social services once it was brought to my attention, and I understood the magnitude of things, because the other girl had a high school aged sister.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I highly doubt if the mother or the father are doing anything to her. It has to be the sister. So I made a report to social services, and I don't know if social services did anything with it or not. And, they wouldn't tell me or divulge any information to me because of the age of the children.
Right.
But as far as I know, social services took an intake report and they didn't really do anything else with it other than that. Went to the police once I saw that, nothing was improving or anything to that effect. The police didn't do anything with it. The police took a report, but they wouldn't give me any information on like an investigation or anything to that effect. As far as I know, they wrote up a report and it just sat on someone's desk, but they didn't do anything with it. Found out later that what I actually should have done is I should have went straight to juvenile services, or the police should have actually sent the report over to juvenile services because of the age of children.
I think that the point that I really want people to get, because I'm sure we talked offline, and this situation is massive,
Oh, it
right?
gets bigger. It
Like,
gets
yeah,
bigger.
it gets bigger. But what I want our audience tonight to really grab a hold of is that we're talking about really young kids. We're talking about really serious topics, issues, situations that happen to where we've got a young girl who's now dealing with depression. She's dealing with not loving herself, liking herself, having these type of issues, wondering whether or not, it's because of the way she looks and things of that nature, which led her to this place of writing a book. So, Haelee, how did you get to the place where you were strong enough after all of the things you all went through, your dad trying to get justice for you and all of these things? How did you get to a place where you were strong enough to say, I'm gonna write a book?
Um, it was like summer of June 2020. Yeah,
Mhm.
June 2020. When this was like the moment I cut off like all the toxic friends and things like that I had in previously 2020. After I had cut them off and I just like pretty much isolated myself from really anyone and focused more on like God and like bettering myself, that is when I decided, okay, so I'm going to write this journal type thing of all the things that I went through and like how I got through it.
Mhm.
And then I had like it with my dad, and then he was the one who told me it should be a book.
Yeah, journaling, I found, even as an author, as well, that writing has always been therapeutic for me. Did you find that in creating the journal and your own personal journaling, and then in transitioning that into a book, did you find that it helped you to sort of deal with what was going on in your head and in your life, as you wrote, or had you dealt with those things prior to the writing?
That one specific like writing type journal thing, that wasn't like what exactly had helped me.
Mhm.
It was more of like I had this journal that I carried forever. Like I had it since I was maybe, I would say maybe 9, 8 years old.
Mhm.
And I just never exactly wrote in it. So I had it for a while and I just wrote in it over time. And that's more of what helped me.
Okay. So it was the ongoing writing.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Mary, how you doing, Mary? It's good to see you in the building tonight. Mary says writing is, all caps, therapy. Yes, it is. It is definitely therapeutic. Sherelle says, you are so strong and mature. I'm sorry you went through so much, but praise God for how you turned your pain to purpose. Yes. So let's talk about the book. Exactly what type of book is it? Why did you choose for it to be the type of book that it is? And who's your target audience? Are you writing more for young people or for older people, or is it there sort of a combination of all of them?
Okay, so can you like go one by one with like the questions because I like barely caught all of them.
Yeah, so the first one is, what type of book, the genre? Is it a journal, or is it does it have short
Mm.
stories? What's your genre?
So it is like self-help, and
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say it's more of like a journal per se. While you can like write in it because I have journal pages, it's not exactly a journal. So it goes like different steps. So it's like, here's the first step, here's the second one, here's the third one. So in the first step, it will have like the things that you need to do, and then a little bit of my experience to like try to correlate the two, and then key takeaways, like what you got from it with those journal pages. That's like more of like the whole style of it.
Okay, can I just sidebar? You and these $1,000,000 words, I'm loving it. So I was an English teacher. I've almost 20 years I've been an educator. No, not almost 20 years I've been an educator. And to hear a 13-year-old use words like toxicity and correlate. I'm in heaven. Like, I'm in heaven right now, Dad.
You sound just like my ELA teacher.
Good job, Dad. I'm just saying. So okay, so let's get back to this. Angel's gonna come out of heaven right now and just like finish this. So all right, good. So I like that. I like that. And who's your target audience? Is this a book for young people like you to help them, or is it for older people, or is it for sort of anyone who needs to understand how to love themselves?
It's more for like the older audience. Like I wouldn't say like a 6-year-old or a 4-year-old could like read something like that because like of like the whole style of it and like the things that it contains. So I highly doubt that they would be able to comprehend it. So I would say maybe 5th grade and up.
Okay.
Possibly 4th grade, it would depend, but I would say maybe 5th grade and up.
Okay. What about adults? Is that a part of the and up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. It doesn't really matter just as long as you can like your brain has like enough capacity and understanding for it.
Girl, I'm so done right now. As long as your brain has the capacity. Okay. Listen, I am okay. So I'm gonna bring this back here. Speak Up Sis is all about being able to open up your mouth first, acknowledge and own your stuff, right? And then give voice to that stuff in order to share your story, to inspire other people. The fact that you are 13 years old and you are able and willing to share the type of story that you have, it is admirable. Does Dad help you in that space? Did you have to sort of learn to do that? Or because I asked you earlier, are you an extrovert? Are you, listen, okay, everybody, I asked Haelee if she was an extrovert or an introvert, and she said, well, I'm really an ambivert. I was like, girl, me too. He's blowing my mind, y'all. But anyway, is it just your nature to share, or did you have to learn? Did Dad help you in that space?
When it came to like talking to therapists, I never really wanted to because I was like, there's really no help. Like, I don't really want to do that. It's really just somebody to talk to. It's really nothing more. So usually, I could really tell anyone about it, but like as far as like getting the help, sometimes not. It really depend on who the person is. But I've always been like the oversharer. So since I like overshare way too much, especially when I just meet someone, I'm like telling my entire life story, which I need to like stop doing. But I'm an oversharer. So since it's like pretty easy for me to do, so I just have to recognize how to tone it down sometimes.
Okay. And so you mentioned therapy. Do you encourage, has therapy helped you? Do you encourage people when they come to you to talk about this whole self-care, self-love? Is therapy one of those things that you write about in the book? Is that a step? Get a therapist?
I would say like in the book, it's more of like what you feel that you need. If you think that you need a therapist, go ahead and get one. If you think that just talking to a family member would be good for you, or maybe like an older friend or pretty much whoever you're comfortable talking with, I would say that's what you should do. But personally, I choose really not to go to therapy and just figure it out by myself and just talk to people I feel like it.
And let me add to what she just said. It's in the foreword of her book. Hey, basically saying, hey, these are just things that work for me. And you know, they work for a lot of people. But please keep in mind, I am not a licensed professional. So, you know, don't take these things as a panacea. They're more or less abstract things that work for me, and hopefully and prayerfully they work for you too. So there's a disclaimer in there about that.
Oh, okay. Most definitely. I would think that most people wouldn't expect you to be a counselor at 13, but I don't know, the way you slinging these words around, sis, you might be getting a degree or something by the time you're 18. I don't know. But So I think that's wise. And it's crazy because at 43, I kind of feel really close to that as well. And therapy is good if therapy is for you. However, I kind of tend to like wise counsel and people that I'm a little closer to. So I like that answer. Good answer. So listen, can you believe it? We're already at our 30-minute marker. But before we leave, what I would like for you to do, and let me just say this, I kind of just want everybody to really feel how I'm feeling right now in this space. First, I am honored that you all are in this space. I'm honored that you chose this platform to share your story as well as your work. I thank you. I appreciate both of you. And I also want to make sure that I say, as an elder woman to you, that I am so proud of you. Like, as a woman, as a Black woman, as a woman who has dealt with childhood sexual abuse, sexual trauma, as a woman who it has taken years to be able to sit and have a conversation like you just did, and for this conversation to not be scripted. I need everybody to get that. You all know with Speak Up Sis Talk Show, we don't script conversations. So this beautiful princess is having this conversation with me without receiving any questions or anything beforehand. She is just sharing her testimony with us and her book. So I want to say before, because I'm going to let you have the last word, I want you to know I'm honored and I'm godly proud of you. And listen, anything as you're growing, you can reach back to Speak Up Sis, to that lady named Angel Charmaine, and you can reach out and say, hey, I'm getting ready to do this. How can you support me? Can you help me or whatever? I am just like, I'm like an honorary auntie at this point. I'm just saying, Dad, I ain't talking to you. I'm talking to Haelee. So with that, I want to give you an opportunity to leave some words of wisdom for everyone who's listening in terms of whatever words of wisdom you want to give. Can you feel like giving them something before you leave?
Yes, I have been waiting for this one. I actually wrote it. So I actually have two quotes that I would like to end off with.
Okay, while you get that
you can purchase the book.
Yes,
Okay.
You can purchase the book. It's at all the major bookstores, but if you go to the bookofselflove.com, it's been scrolling at the bottom. That's her website. You'll be able to contact her. She's got merchandise. I need y'all to go buy her mugs, t-shirt, whatever she got. You need to go buy it, okay? Go buy the book, go buy the merchandise. Let's support her in this journey. All right, so go to www.thebookofselflove.com to purchase the book, as well as the other merchandise that she has with her business. But if you're on Barnes and Noble, Amazon, right? It's on all the major places, right, Dad? Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
All the major places you can find it. You want to hold it up for them one more time, Haelee, so they can see it?
There we go.
The Rules of a Big Boss. There you go. That's the book. So you all make sure you grab the book. I see at least 6 people watching, and I know there are more in different spaces. So she needs to get at least 6 sales tonight. That's all I'm saying. I said it. I'm not taking it back. All right. You can go ahead and leave us with what you wrote, Haelee.
Okay, so first one, I actually got this from someone who I did an interview with. So It's love the person that you're with because you're your only constant. So that means like everybody else, like they can easily leave your life, whether it's a close friend that you've known your entire life, whether it's a family member that you've like been stuck with your entire life. Those people easily leave you, and that's like hard to hear, but it's the truth. You're the only person you're always going to be stuck with. So if you hate yourself, you're just going to be beating yourself up over everything. So just love yourself because you don't really have a choice but to be you. So it is what it is. And then
That's
the second one is you never know what's truly important until you have to choose. So when it comes to like two different things that are important to you, you never know what's more important or what you need to deal with the most. So you have to choose between the two of them. So those are the two things that I just wanted to say.
Deidre, can I keep her?
Please, I will send her in the mail. You can have her.
I've got 4 sons, and I've been wanting a daughter. I'm just saying. I just want to.
I will be happy to trade you.
Haelee, that's it, sis. There isn't anything that I'm going to add to that because those 2 nuggets were perfect. Again, I want to thank both you as well as your dad, Diedrich, for coming into the space tonight and sharing your story, sharing your book, sharing you with Speak Up Sis Talk Show, as well as our audience. I want to thank everyone, Ashana, Mary, Sherelle, and anybody else whose name I didn't see because I've been focusing on Haelee. Thank you for joining us tonight. Remember, Speak Up Sis Talk Show is the place where authors have an opportunity to share the word of their testimonies in order to inspire you to open up your mouth and share yours. Haelee, thank you. Remember, all you gotta do is reach out. I'm a new auntie in your tribe, so just reach out, sis. Diedrich, thank you so much for allowing her to come into the space. I appreciate you as well, brother. And y'all have a good
Absolutely.
night.
It was a blessing. Thank you.
That's
You
what's
too.
up. You're welcome. All right, everybody. Good night.